broadcaster Joshua Rozenburg. Thanks for joining us, Joshua. What does this amount to legally? I mean, are we on the sort of upward steps towards the International Court ruling that, or wanting to rule that Israel is guilty of genocide? I mean, what exactly is the significance of what they've said today?
Certainly, South Africa alleges that Israel is guilty of genocide and wants that order. But that sort of decision will take months, years, in fact. And what the court wanted to do was to preserve the status quo, preserve the existing position, try to prevent what South Africa is alleging. So, as you say, it ordered Israel to take all measures within its power to prevent the commission of genocide, and you heard the president of the court explaining what that amounted to. But it also stopped short, as you reported, and did not order Israel to suspend its military operations in the territory, which is something that South Africa had asked for.
My understanding is that the court has now asked for Israel to lay out evidence of particular measures they're going to take to meet with the conditions now laid down by the ICJ within a month. If Israel were to choose not to do that, if Israel were just going to say, well, look, you know, we don't care what the ICJ have to say, we've got a job to do and we're going to continue to do that in whichever manner we see fit, what would be the potential ramifications?
The court would report that to the United Nations, which would no doubt condemn it. But I don't think that's likely, because I don't think Israel will have any problem in reporting to the court within a month what it's doing to give effect to the court's order. After all, Israel says it's not committing genocide, and therefore it would be perfectly open to Israel to report to the court the measures it's taking. One of the other requests, demands, if you like, by the court was that Israel must take immediate and effective measures to ensure the provision of urgently needed basic services and humanitarian assistance for people in Gaza. So Israel can certainly report that. It's worth saying, incidentally, that South Africa said the report must be within a week, but the court said it didn't have to choose the wording of the interim measures, the temporary orders requested by South Africa. It could make its own decisions as to what they should be.
Josh, I'm not really asking you this as a legal expert. I'm asking you as a commentator and, shall we say, an interested party. Am I alone in feeling really uncomfortable about accusations of genocide towards Israel, which is, of course, populated by the Jewish citizens, and the Jewish race, of course, suffered the worst genocide in the history of humanity? This to me is uncomfortable. Do you share my disquiet?
Well, let me tell you what the senior lawyer at Israel's foreign ministry said to the court at the hearing 2 weeks ago. Not only does it dispute committing genocide, this is Dr. Tal Becker, but he said if there have been acts that may be characterized as genocidal, they've been perpetrated against Israel. And it says, Tal Becker said, there could hardly be a charge more false and malevolent. He explained that Israel signed the Genocide Convention shortly after the Second World War because the Genocide Convention was designed to prevent any repetition of the Holocaust, which, as you say, killed 6 million Jews and left many of those survivors in Israel.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm not sure what the numerical qualification is for genocide, but I would say that some of us remember what happened on October the 7th last year, and I would suggest that Israel was the victim of genocide then.
That's certainly what Israel says. It's obviously not what South Africa says. South Africa is arguing the arguments put by Hamas. It's worth also saying that the court called for the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages held in Gaza by Hamas and other armed groups. And your interview with the South African foreign minister indicated that South Africa accepts that too.
In terms of what will happen going forward, I mean, Israel would attest to the fact that throughout their military activity within Gaza. They have tried their hardest to demonstrate that they are operating with what they would say is a surgical precision, and would in fact blame Hamas for being the ones to deliberately use human shields, public buildings, to appropriate whether it be water supplies or fuel supplies for means of military aid, rather than have those things go to the citizens who might desperately need them. Is Israel going to have to up their game on trying to sell that narrative to the world?
Well, it's very interesting, isn't it? Israel has been criticized in the past for concentrating more on doing what it needs to do to protect its people than it does in talking about it and in selling its arguments to the world, something that it's been criticized for. So yes, I think Israel does need to do this. Some people are describing this as a total victory for South Africa and ultimately for Hamas. It's not, because crucially, the court has not ordered the ceasefire that Hamas wants and that South Africa was calling for, and that it asked the court to order. And that's because I think the court, although it didn't say this in terms today, accepts that if Israel is attacked by what it regards as a terrorist force across its border, it is entitled to act in self-defense. And the court did not rule on that, just as it didn't rule on genocide. But as I say, it did not order a ceasefire.
Thank you so much. Great to talk to you. Joshua Rozenburg, legal expert.